Well, hello there, folks. My name is Mark Miles, and as you know, I love helping trainers, presenters, workshop facilitators really take the results to the next level. In today's video, I want to talk to you about how can you massively ramp up your levels of engagement in a Zoom session with some very, very, very simple communication tactics and shortcuts, so to speak, right? Because a lot of people find that when they go from the face-to-face world to the Zoom world, they really struggle. And one of the reasons for that is when you're really delivering to an audience, so to speak, typically the audience are on mute. So it's a little bit harder. And I always hesitate to say hard or easy because at the end of the day, nothing is really hard other than the hardest you make it, so to speak, right? So the thing is, people struggle to be able to get responses back from the audience, right? And in the online world, like you ask a question, you have to basically say, all right, everyone, all right, if you're feeling good today, raise your hand. Or if you're feeling good today, Bob, unmute yourself. Tell us how you feeling today. Or Bob, drop in the chat, right? So you have to actually tell people how to respond, which is very important. And it's a skill that you need to remember to do, right? But here's the thing, folks. A lot of people really underestimate the power of the chat box, right? The power of the chat. I don't know why, I really don't, but all professional presenters and speakers, the Anthony Robbins of the world, use the chat box to a ridiculous level, and it's so comfortable getting responses in that chat box. So here's the thing: as an online presenter, you really want to be starting to play with the chat box and getting people to respond, right? You also want to kind of set up the expectation that you are not moving on with your session until people respond, right? So if you're actually doing activities, you want to make sure that you get responses from people before you move on. If you're just a presenter or speaker, you definitely want to be stopping and getting people engaged in the chat box, waiting for responses, and then moving on to your next segment, right? So here's the thing, folks. At the end of the day, you can really turn the chat box into a very functional system where you get responses, right? And today's video, I want to give you some shortcuts, some hacks that I do as I present, right? All based on the chat box. And it's all about the effort of getting people involved and people playing along. And also you as a presenter knowing where people are up to, right? So get ready, grab a pen, get ready, right? All right. So here's the thing, folks. I will often use like a letter response in the chat, right? So here's one that I often use. All right. So when I'm first starting out, everyone drop a yes, drop a Y in the chat if you can hear me and see me. All right. So I'll do that one when I first start out. Everyone drop a yes in the chat if you can hear me and see me. Because the thing is, folks, you don't want to be starting if people can't hear you. Bad idea, right? And you want to be watching for the yeses that come through. And even if you got like 20, 30 people in the room, totally fine. It's still common courtesy. And also, people will notice the yeses and they'll start playing, they'll start getting involved, right? And you can even say expressions like, I'm not moving on until everyone's responded. And you can wait for people to respond, right? Next one, you can do drop a yes if you would agree with this statement. All right, drop a yes or drop a Y if you would agree with this statement. All right, drop a yes if you would agree with this statement, or would you agree that blah blah. All right. Now you can also say drop an MS in the chat if this makes sense, or does this make sense? Drop a yes if this makes sense, or drop an MS in the chat if this makes sense, right? So in the face-to-face environment, you would say, does that make sense? The people would say yes, or they put up their hand, or whatever it may be, right? They can just say drop an MS for makes sense, right? So drop a yes if you can hear me and see me. Next one, would you agree that? Drop a yes if you would agree, right? Next one of my favorites to use is when people come back from breaks, I'm going to say to people, drop a P for present if you are present and ready to go, ready to learn, and ready to have your mind expanded, right? So you can play with it a little bit. But drop a P for present if you are here and ready to go. Drop a P for present, right? And you can start to see the power of actually doing this, right? Next one, drop an R for ready. Drop an R for ready if you are ready to rock and roll or ready to learn or ready for the next thing that we're about to do. Because the thing is, everyone's going to be doing things at different paces. But if you can say, all right, drop an R for ready, and that's going to give you visibility, is everyone up to where you want them to be there, right? Next one, drop a D for done. Drop a D for done in the chat box. And, that lets you know as a presenter that they are done on the activity, right? Drop a D for done. Next one, as you walk people through documents, right, you want to make sure that people can see things, right? So I will often say, all right, everyone drop an F for found it if you found XYZ section, right? So, all right, let's look through the document. I want you to drop an F if you found page 3. All right, very simple thing. Drop an F for found it. Drop an F in the chat if you found it. Next one, what do we got? Drop an S. Drop an S for saved it if you've saved the document that we've just gone through, right? Drop an S for saved it if you've found and saved the document, right? Next one, all right? Or maybe you've been working through something and you've just finished it and you want to get people to save it. You want to know that people have saved it. You say drop an S for saved it. Right? Next one, drop an O for open. Drop an O for open. So here's the thing, folks. You may be getting people to open documents, right? Now, some people may be slower on the opening side of things, right? But you also want to make sure people are opening the right documents, right? Very simple thing, but sometimes people open the wrong document. Life happens, right? Or you click on the wrong thing. So I will say, once you got the document open, drop an O for open. Or again, let's come back to logistics, all right? So, folks, I'm now bringing up a website. Drop a yes if you can see my screen, or drop a yes if you can hear the video. Right? There's so many different ways that we can use this. Next one is drop a Q for question. Right? So if you got a question, folks, go ahead, drop a Q for question, and then that'll tell me to pause. And we'll go ahead and take the question from the audience, right? Because what you don't want to do is have people randomly unmuting themselves and then speaking in your ear or speaking across the entire room there. It's just kind of weird if people just yell out a question, right? So you want to set up a frame where people drop a Q for question, and that allows them to go, or that allows you to know, all right, cool, I've got a question. And then you can also say to people, all right, hold that question. We'll address that in a couple of segments or a couple of moments. I just need to finish what I'm doing right now. All right. So let's recap. What do we got here, folks? We've got drop a yes for, if you can hear me, Stephen. Next one. Drop an O for open. Drop a D for done. Drop a P for present. Drop an F for found it. Drop an S for saved. Drop a Q for question. Another one of my favorites is drop a V for value if you got value from what we've just gone through. Right? So, folks, hope you got some value from that. Right? Now, again, these are just common sense for me. Like, I mean, how could you not? And one of the other things that you can do, like a bit of a training thing, but you can say, all right, as we all know, rapport is critically important as we train. Everyone, just like that, we lock that idea in, drop an R for rapport in the chat box there, right? So you can get people to simulate writing things down there as well. And you can do that, right? So you can do these things in terms of logistics, but you can also do it in the terms of actually getting people to remember things. So, chat box, use it, right? Professionals use it. Amateurs run away from it. Like it's weird that people don't use it more often, right? It just really was weird to me. So on that note, folks, just to answer probably a question that's in your mind, do I pre-teach this to audiences? No, there's generally not a need to. Generally what I'll say, like, people just get used to me saying it. Drop a D for done if you're done on that, right? And people just get used to it. Eventually you get to a stage where you don't need to say it anymore, and you're like, all right, go ahead, everyone save that document, and people will already be dropping in the S's, and that's really cool. All right, but no, I don't pre-teach it because it's too much for people to remember. But I may teach or pre-teach the whole Q for question, just to set up the formalities there, so there's no crazy interruptions during a presentation there. On that note, folks, hope you got some V for value out of that, or you got some helpful hints that you can use when presenting there, right? As always, like, comment, share. Let's get this out there because we really want presenters online doing a better job, folks. We really want to raise the standards because it's not hard. It's just different. It's not hard. It's just different. And when you get used to it, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I really enjoy it. I love face-to-face presenting. I love public speaking. I love coaching people around that. And I love coaching people around online delivery as well. It's not hard, team. It's just different. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.